Hi, everybody. This is Dr. V, and this is the work for week number 7, due before the end of the day on Thursday, the 24th of February. As always, I have the timer set on Blackboard for Friday morning at 6 a.m. So if you want to work past midnight on Thursday night, it won't be marked as late. I'm going to go ahead and open up the week number 7 work. Part 1 is carried over from the last 2 weeks. Part 1 contains all the lessons that we've had so far leading up to paper number 2. I'm not going to open that up because it is a repeat. Part 2, this has new lessons this week. When you go into this folder, you have a lesson on writing introductions for the paper. There's some links here to other documents that are associated with this lesson. The second lesson is on the PPE paragraph, which is called Point Proof Explain. And when you go into the Point Proof Explain document, it has some information here, goes along with these slides and the handout. And then the next folder has 3 sample papers in it. So you want to make sure you open the sample papers folder and look at them. There are 3 videos here, and each video has a link. So you can go and look at the Google Doc of the paper. So if I clicked here, you have to click twice. You'll actually see the sample papers. These are all used with permission of former students. It's a very high honor to be used as a sample paper. And it's something that allows a publication opportunity for my students. So if I ask you to use yours, it's pretty awesome because then my future students will get to look at your work as a matter of excellence. This first paper is the one that I used in the sample planning table. This is that paper written all the way out. So it might be really useful to you, since you've seen the planning table that goes with this one, to check it out. I want you to notice things like the title. I want you to notice the introduction. This is for each of these sample papers. I'm just going to talk about the one on my screen. And then I want to make sure that you look at each paragraph and see what it does. Look for the aspects of the lectures we've had leading up to this point, for the way that each student handles taking the information from the lectures that's also in the tables and representing that in their paragraphs. You'll see that each paragraph has a topic sentence. Look at what happens inside the paragraphs and how the paragraphs hold together under the topic sentences. Each paper in this way is actually pretty different. You'll probably want to look at the conclusion too, because all of those things are going to help you write your journal for this week. So there's your sample papers. The other thing that I want to go over is that the assignments for this week, I made the perusal optional. That's because I do think that this is a hard draft to write, and there should be a pretty good amount of time invested in looking at the samples. I did make the perusal extra credit, and that way if you've skipped one, or hopefully not more than one, but if you have, do the perusal so that you can get some points back, and I'll do a replacement grade for that. So the perusal, you have to go into perusal to do it, and then you have the week 7 journal here. And the week 7 journal has you writing your rough draft. When you click on that week 7 journal, I'm going to go ahead and just cover it in this overview for the week. It'll look familiar. The first 2 questions for 20 points are going to ask you about what you learned from lectures. And then down here, you're going to type a rough draft. I have a couple things in here I want you to pay really close attention to. One is what's highlighted down here in yellow. make sure you're following the table and the lessons for this paper, not writing about the issue that's behind your image. That is a frequent mistake. The problem when that happens is it doesn't show awareness of the lessons at all and makes it look like a student didn't do any of those. Be careful with that. It's a good way to fail the journal and the paper. You don't want that. To try to build in a little bit of time for you so that you don't have to write this thing all the way out, I put some limits here on what you must do. You can do more if you want for this rough draft. Basically, the more you do, the closer you are to the next draft and the more the feedback will help. But you will need to have an introduction that follows the lessons on introductions, at least 2 complete paragraphs that follow the PPE lesson, and then other paragraphs must have the topic sentence for the paragraph and a list of 3 to 4 subtopics under the topic sentence. Those subtopics may be copied and pasted from the planning table below the topic sentences. When you look at the sample papers, you might want to count how many paragraphs they have. That'll give you a sense of how many the paper will have. You will probably have a minimum of 6 paragraphs in your paper if you are looking for a guide. So I'm going to just put a note here. To have at least 4 total paragraphs, and that's including the 2 that are completed. So 2 may be topic sentence only and the lists that I describe here. That might just save you some time to come up with the topic sentence and then dump the stuff from your planning table underneath those. Again, I think it's good to go back and look at the samples. That's it. That's week 7. Thanks for watching.